What's going on, Infected? It's Wolf of the Quarantine, and this is Kickstart Your Week. So if you're not familiar with what this is my weekly show where I cover the Kickstarters from the previous week that I thought you guys would enjoy, that I thought looked awesome. Now, I only really have one hard, fast rule about what I put on this list, and it's really a maximum of 5 items that I put on. Sometimes I don't make 5, just depending on what's out, what looked cool to me, but at most I'm gonna have 5. Other than that, it could be anything from maybe I like the IP, maybe the rules looked interesting, maybe the artwork was cool, minis were cool. There's really no hard, fast definition of what I'm gonna cover here. It's just what looked cool to me at the time. Now, anybody who watches this show regularly may realize I'm wearing my headphones again. For whatever reason, whenever I stream or whenever I'm recording this, it desyncs the audio, so I have to go in and manually adjust all the audios. It's a big headache, but the audio sounds better, so I guess I'll just deal with it. It's not that big of a deal. Alright, starting this off, we're gonna go start with War Titans Invaders Must Die. So it's no secret that Neon Genesis Evangelion is my favorite anime of all time, and then followed very closely, well, probably not very closely, but followed by probably Gurren Lagann. Even though it's funny, those are the only 2 mecha animes I actually really enjoy. But this is basically, it almost seems like a little bit of both of those combined as a board game meets Pandemic, essentially. So basically what this is you're going to take a pilot and a mech and you're going to put them together, basically. And you're going to be roaming around the planet trying to stop an invasion of big bad guys, is basically what it is. And you're going to be stomping around the cities, these different locations around the map, trying to stop the invading bad guys. It looks like it also has a little bit of, Pacific Rim thrown in for good measure. And some of the mechs, and especially some of the enemies, look very reminiscent of popular mecha IPs. So you have, this one definitely looks like it's from Gurren Lagann. This one looks very, very similar to Ramael from Evangelion. And there's a few other ones further down that look very reminiscent of different other mecha animes. If you pledge at the right level, you also get super sweet minis for all of this, which is also really cool. But basically, what this looks like is these enemies are going to be coming from different areas, and they're going to be coming out and just jacking things up. Your job is to get out there and stop them. And then once so much time has passed, or so many layers have been shut down, or something, yeah, here's another one that looks very, very Gurren Lagann-ish. But anyways, you're going to be, once you've gotten to a certain point, whatever the trigger is, then like the big baddie comes out, and then you have to defeat them, and if you do, you win. So it looks like there's also there's a dice-based combat for it as well. Yeah, these dice here. Which I'm guessing you use to trigger abilities and stuff like that. It looks really interesting, and then, you know, being a Gurren Lagann and an Evangelion fan that I am, this definitely speaks to me on several levels. Whether or not I actually back it, I'm not 100% sure. Looks like it's $40 for the core pledge, $60 for the advanced pledge, which comes with, looks like, yeah, the Rise of the Overlord expansion. I think it's the premium pledge comes with all of the minis, which honestly I don't know if I'd want. Yeah, premium pledge with core, advanced pledge, and minis. I don't know if I want the minis, honestly, because I will never get around to painting them, and I'll want to. So doesn't look like any of the mechs resemble an Ava, which is kind of a bummer, because it looks like these are the only ones. You know, Ava's going to be real slender. This definitely looks like the Megazord. You have some Gundam looking ones. Definitely a Gurren Lagann. But I don't see any Ava looking ones, which is kind of a downer. But what are you going to do? Next up, I was a little on the fence of whether I wanted to add this one, but it's the Horizon Zero Dawn game. Now, I'm a huge fan of the video game Horizon Zero Dawn. I have a review, actually, that I put up here. I don't do a whole lot of video game reviews, but I try to, but it's just time is the problem. But I played the heck out of Horizon Zero Dawn, and it was a phenomenal game. So this one really intrigued me, because you don't play as Aloy, even though it looks like there is an Aloy model. I don't know if I'm assuming you can play as Aloy, but in the standard game you play as tribesmen, where in the beginning of the video game, which this isn't really spoilers, but in the beginning of the video game, you're undergoing like a trial to be awesome, basically. And that's what this is. You're undergoing a trial, but it's like a hunt trial. You guys are going out, and it's a semi-cooperative, which I thought was really interesting, because you are all competing. Whoever has the most glory is who's going to win. But if anybody dies, it's just game over for everybody. So you have to kind of begrudgingly work together. If I see you're in trouble, maybe I can use that to my advantage and slip in and steal the kill and stuff like that. So it seemed really interesting. And the reason why I said, oh god, look at these minis. They're just, I've seen porn that isn't as satisfying as these, some of these minis, but there's a couple things, reason why I'm not sure if I wanted to add it to the list here, because the first one being some of the big monsters are locked behind additional purchases. You know, $45 for a Thunderjaw, the Frozen Wilds expansion stuff, which, I mean, that's not that big of a deal. But you know, a Rock Breaker, $38, the Stormbird, $45, the Fireclaw, $38. They just seem a bit pricey when the game is already $130 US, which, I mean, there's a lot of plastic to the box, so whatever. But the other big reason why I'm not sure if I'm gonna back it or not is when I first saw it, I came everywhere. It was great. Like, oh man, I looked at everything just looked awesome. I loved the concept of it's semi-cooperative. I love semi-cooperative games because you have to begrudgingly help each other, but I want to win, but I have to help you, and I love that. But the problem with this is I was watching the gameplay video, and at first it was just like, oh yeah, just stroking it. It was so good. But then I was only partially watching it because I was fiddling with something. I don't remember what I was doing. I think I was working on something over on the side, maybe homework or something. I don't remember. But and then I started watching it a little more in depth, and while I was watching it, it never, like, the people playing it and just kind of everything, it started to like level off, and it never seemed like it got super exciting. So I don't, that's why I didn't know if I wanted to put it on here. But the theme alone, it definitely warranted mention. Next up is Nantinarking. Nantinarking is a re-implementation of a game called, I think it's RimWorld, which is on a lot of people's like what is it, wish list, grail list. That's what the word I'm looking for. And you may recognize the name because I reviewed it, which I'll have a link up here as well to the review if I should remember to put that up. But I'll have a link to that, and I got to review it. It is a phenomenal game. Spoiler alert. It's got a few minor gripes, the biggest one being I feel the board's a little small, but I also have prototype components, so they might be making the board bigger, I'm not sure. But the way this game works is it is ridiculously simple, but super complex in terms of the strategy that goes behind it, because also super sexy metal coins. But the way this game works is literally on your turn, at the beginning of the game, you're going to get an objective card. That objective card is going to give you how you're going to win, and they're usually pretty simple, self-explanatory. Control so many areas, have so many people out, have so much money, stuff like that. You know, control so many buildings, whatever. That's what you're going to get, and then during the game, you're going to have a hand of 5 cards or more if you have, you know, things that break the rules. And all you're going to do is you're going to play a card and just do what the card says. That's it. That's all the game is. You're going to draw back up to 5 cards. Done. Your turn's over, goes to the next person. And once you accomplish your goal, you have to accomplish your goal at the start of your next turn. So if I needed $30 or $40 or whatever, I needed a bunch of money. So let's go with 50 bucks. I needed $50 at the beginning of my turn. If I have $50 now, my turn's over. I still have to have that money when it comes back around to me. So if you see that I have, because on the back of everybody's player's reference card, it has every objective in the game. So everybody knows what everybody's objective could be. So that's where the meat and potatoes of this game comes from, because there's so much intrigue and so much going on behind the scenes, but to play the game is really, really, really simple. You play a card, do what it says, that's it. That's it. It's just how you're going to reach your goal. Maybe you're going to put attention on somebody else. Maybe you're going to, I don't know, and that's where the game really shines. I'm probably giving way too much away here. Check out the review for more in depth, but it is a fantastic game. And lastly, there are only 4 this week, is Dark Domains. Now, a lot of games, you're curing the world, you're the hero, you're killing the damned, you're the good guy. Sometimes you just want to watch the world burn, and that's fantastic. I really like that. And sometimes, I'm not in the mood to be the good guy. Sometimes I want to wreck everything. That's why one versus all games are sometimes really cool. Sometimes I want to be the evil overlord and just slaughter everybody. And that's kind of the theme of this game. There's like an ancient necromancer, and everybody's vying for this ancient necromancer's favor. And you're going to do that in the form of a worker placement. All the while, it looks like you're going to be you're building things on different areas of your little board here, which I guess give you more powers. You're going to be recruiting monsters, which where are they? The artwork in this game is beautiful too. You have heroes that you're having to fight against as well. You have all these different spells, control spells, production spells, because you're trying to vie for a necromancer's favor. So there's going to be magic. There's these monsters that you can summon, and I'm assuming you can summon and unleash on everybody, and they'll probably, it looks like they give you powers, probably victory points, and probably favor. You could have henchmen, and it's a worker placement game. Yeah, here we go. Here's your area. You can have a dark tower of magic, or a wizard school, a forest altar, or grove, so on and so forth. And you're going to be putting those on your player board, and that's going to change abilities and stuff that you have access to, and you're going to do that in form of a worker placement. And I'm already a big fan of worker placements. As is, buildings taken during the minion phase can be placed, light set up in your domain. If you have the resources to do so, then you can, I think you can, if I'm not mistaken, you swap them to the dark side later or something. I don't remember. I'm not 100% sure. But sometimes it's great to be the bad guy, and I like games that give me the ability to just be the bad guy, burn the world down, slaughter everybody, and just sit on top of my throne of skulls. And that is my Kickstart Your Week for this week. So as for my arbitrary Kickstart Your Week award, which one I'm going to give it to, so I was a little on the fence. Initially, I was going to give it to Horizon Zero Dawn, because the game looks so good. The minis are beautiful. I love the IP. The concept looks really cool. I'm a sucker for semi-co-op games. I like the fact that you're forcing me to help you, even though I'm competing with you as well. And I love that. That's such a cool mechanic in games. But the more I started seeing with it, the more I started watching and everything, it looked like it's just going to be an okay game. And I can't, like that 130, I think it was $140. That's a lot of money to spend on a game. It's just going to be all right. But it's also Steamforged Games, which I haven't actually played the Dark Souls game, but a lot of the reviews and a lot of the gameplay videos that I've watched of it, it doesn't look like it's that great of a game. It looks like it's grindy, which, I mean, Dark Souls is grindy. It's supposed to be. But that doesn't translate very well to a board game. It just seems tedious in terms of an actual board game. So that's between those two things, I'm a little turned off at the game. So because of that, my Kickstart Your Week is actually going to go to, which you may have already guessed with the way I talked about it, is 9SEP2018. Because I have played it. I have a review copy over there on my shelf. It is a fantastic game. It's not, there's a few things it's not going to be for everybody, such as the way because the actions are super simple, but you are drawing cards, and what you have access to be able to do is based on what you draw, but you have 5 cards, so you can make do with what you draw. But it's a really, really good game, and it's so simple to learn and play, but there's a lot of tension in there, because you're constantly looking at the board going, okay, how am I going to accomplish this? I think my goal is I had to control like 8 areas or something like that on the board. So most of the game I had like 6 and 7 areas that I controlled, and so I'm sitting there like fighting with myself, like, okay, how am I going to get these last 2 areas? And then not only that, hold them until my next turn. And all the while, at one point, I had everything I needed, but one of the players that I was playing with looked at the back of the player sheet and went, oh, wait a minute. He's ready to, he's going to win on his next turn. So everybody bonded together cooperatively to then take one of the territories from me. So I then didn't win and I had to keep fighting. And it's just such a cool concept for such a light, I don't even want to call it a light game because it's not a light game, but for such an easy game to learn. I absolutely adore this. I 100% understand why the original, the Discworld, was on so many people's Grail game list because the game is phenomenal. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you enjoy my channel, you'd like to help support me. If you're new here, stick around. I do have a couple Patreon link and donation button down there if you'd like to help out the channel monetarily. Even $1 is definitely appreciated. Like I said, if you're new here, stick around. Hit that subscribe button. I think it's this side. Hit that subscribe button. Stick around. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next time in the quarantine.